Minion suit's going to start today. Federal courts. Mike's going to be over a big press conference. We'll be calling all the top reporters in the country here momentarily. We get to Mike, but we got to spend this time with Marjorie Taylor Greene. We only have her for a few minutes. Congressman Greene, two things. I want to get the infrastructure in the first year. The first one, calling this thing out for what it is, really the Green New Deal, and we don't know why we're collapsing to the jihad squad to do this. But I got to ask you first about the war on women. I know you're an athlete. You know, we've got all the videos you working out all the time. Very inspirational. Walk through this war on women, the transgender situation, the Olympics, all the sports. Talk to me about the Democrats' war on women.
Well, I think it's first very important to point out the Democrat strategy is they separate everyone by identity and then they create victimhood, right? So they want every single type of identity, whether it's women, transgenders, blacks, Hispanics. They want everybody to be a victim, and then they need them to be dependent on the Democrats and their policies and their plans and goals in order to be able to survive, literal survival. But the Democrats were always the ones, you know, calling out and talking about women's rights. And thankfully, decades ago, we had brave women and men who actually fought for women's rights. And that's how we have women's sports. We have women's competing in the Olympics. And we have, you know, women have been able to achieve an education, and then there's high school sports and college sports and so on. But yet now we have the Democrat Party who claims to be the champion for women. You know, they claim that abortion is pregnancy rights, and you know, but instead that's killing a baby in a woman's womb. It's actually the worst scar a woman can carry.
Hold it. Women are not women. Aren't they in all the documents they're putting through and all the bills? They're called birthing persons or birthing units or something. They're not even identified as women. Am I missing that? I thought in all these policies they're birthing units.
Yeah, something like that. Birthing, but no, we're mothers. Only a woman can have a baby, and that makes us mothers, not birthing persons. But now the Democrats, their war on women has gone to an area that is beyond anything we can possibly understand. By putting men, biological men, these are men, and I say they're playing dress up. And I'm not trying to offend anyone, but they are literally having an identity crisis. They're dressing up like women, and then they want to be recognized as a woman, which they are not, they never will be, and I refuse to recognize them that way. It's not about their feelings. We have to stick with the truth and facts. And, you know, if you care about women, then you care about women having, we should have our sports and not have to compete with biological men like this Laurel Hubbard that is competing in the Olympics and who beat women who have trained their entire lives to compete in the Olympics. Well, they don't get the opportunity to compete in the Olympics because this man that calls himself Laurel Hubbard is competing in the Olympics. And that's outrageous. I mean, this is something that everyone should fight.
But hang on, Congressman Greene. You know, President Trump stopped Madison, these guys, or the Pentagon. Correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't the taxpayers that are listening to this show now going to pay for the surgery of people that have entered the military and want transgender surgery, and the taxpayers in this nation are going to pay for it, and they're all high-fiving each other over there, and you got the Veterans Affairs guys coming up and saying it's a great day. Talk about that. It's one thing for a guy to play dress up or do whatever you're saying they're doing. It's another thing for the taxpayers to have to foot the bill for this. What's your comments on that, and why is that not being brought up more by the Republicans in the House right now, and a firestorm being created about why taxpayers are paying for this?
Well, first of all, the Republicans are constantly just worrying about messaging and winning in 2022 and fundraising instead of actually fighting the actual war that is taking place in America. But no, the military is not meant for transgender surgery. It's not a place for people to work out their issues and try to change their identity. The military's entire purpose is for defense for our country, and that's the only thing it should be. That's what these men and women that sign up for the military for. They're trained to be soldiers, and soldiers that work together as a team to defend our nation. And our tax dollars should only be spent for that, not spending for people's hormone therapy or breast implants or transgender therapy or whatever they're trying to do through the military. That is absolutely not what our military is for. And you see, here's why we're here, Steve, because years ago, we had something drip like poison into the water system of this country, and that's called political correctness. because everyone got so overly concerned with hurting each other's feelings, people stopped telling the truth. Well, the reason why America is crumbling is because of decades now, people have stopped telling the truth because, oh, well, that might hurt someone's feelings. Well, the reality is truth may hurt your feelings, but dealing with truth is the place where you can solve problems, you can actually achieve goals, and we can function as a real society. But we're not doing that anymore because we're too worried, and it's been ingrained in our society to not hurt people's feelings. Well, here's why, this is why I'm here in Congress. I'm not concerned about hurting people's feelings. I'm concerned about speaking the truth and solving problems. And that's why with this transgender issue, it's not about this guy or any other guy that's trying to be a woman. It's not about their feelings. It's about the fact they need to stay out of our women's sports. They need to stay out of our daughters' bathrooms and locker rooms, and they need to stay out of our girls' high school teams and college sports. And they need to stay out of our rape crisis centers and our women's prisons.
Okay.
And this
okay.
is
We only get. Okay. We got only. So you speak truth.